totally not in focus.
Yeah.
Whatever.
There, now refresh.
Oh yeah, I know it's really hard.
That's the title scale. No, it's not. So the point here of this story is this. The point of the story is that everything that goes in the head tag are actually instructions to the browser. They're not part of the main window. This is where a lot of instructions to the browser are going to go. We just put one instruction here. That was the instruction that said, hey, I want the title on the page or on the tab to be this. Okay. We're now going to focus most of our attention on the body, on things that go inside the body. So we're going to try and make the body of our page more interesting. And I'm going to introduce just a few tags that can go into the body so that we don't make things too complicated. So,
can I ask one question about
please.
that? So if you're like redirecting a URL, is that what that is? In between the head thing?
No. So what
you don't have to go into that now. I just wanted to know if that was...
I'll get to URLs
Okay.
and what they do in a second. What this title thing does is, you saw that when we didn't have it there, it just generically said Firefox, or it puts some generic thing there. It doesn't know what you want this page to be called. But what you call this page is completely independent of its URL. So this page can live anywhere on the internet. We haven't put it anywhere on the internet yet. We have only left it on our own computers. This page is only accessible to you right now. So if you had typed, Susan had typed Susan's first HTML page, that would only have impacted her page on her computer, right? It's sitting, we haven't put it anywhere on the internet. It's not accessible anywhere. Does that answer the question?
Yep.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to introduce a bunch of the body tags, and I will just throw a few out, and we'll see what they do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do an H1 tag, and you can type in there whatever you want. And again, remember, when you open a tag, you've got to have a closing tag, right? So if I make H1, I got to close H1.
Sorry, H1 stands for?
You'll see what it stands for when we render the page.
So we're doing this after the body tag, but before the head tag? No.
Between the body tags.
So between the opening body tag, which is here, see, this is the opening body tag,
Okay.
and this is the closing body tag. So anything you want to appear on the page has to be between the opening and the closing body tag.
Does it matter if it's before or after the text?
Before or after?
The hello world.
Oh, you can put the hello world anywhere you want. You'll see how it comes out on your page. But what I'm going to do with the hello world, I'm going to make a small change to the hello world. I'm going to enclose the hello world inside of this. A T, simple T. And I'm going to add some text. This is part of a paragraph.
So you put that in for the
Well, the great thing about computers is you can't break them. Not with this. I mean, you can break them by pouring water over them, but not with this. So just experiment, and your browser will display something, and you'll see what it displays. So this is what I did, is I had an what's called an H1 tag, and a closing H1 tag. I have an opening H2 tag and a closing H2 tag. I put some white space in between here. As we've already learned, that white space is not going to render as white space. And I put some stuff inside of a paragraph, and then I'm closing the body. And I'm going to save all of that.
What if you want white space?
We'll make white space in a second. It's a good question. It's a very good question. We'll make white space in a second.
And is there some place where all this language lives, like a code place that you can go read it? Like, oh,
Yes,
I need the...
W3 Schools is a great place to learn.
Okay.
And then, in general, whenever I don't know something, it's called Google. I just... there are formal specifications, which are very hard to read, and you should not read them, but there's something called the World Wide Web Consortium, the W3C, and they publish the specifications, but it's painful. Just Google, and usually it takes you to W3 Schools because they come up with something. So, okay, I'm going to reload my page, and here's what it looks like. So, the browser decided that since this was an H1 heading, it should make it big. And since this was an H2 heading, it should make it a little bigger, but not smaller than the H1 heading. And then, since this is just a paragraph, it made it in the normal font.
Is there any way to have the browser customized?
Well, you just have to minimize the browser. Okay, last thing, minimize it. Now you probably didn't say all stuff. Okay. So, make sure you save the file.
I'm here to make everybody feel better.
Has everybody been able to do this?
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
Yes. All right, we are cruising here. So now we're going to insert one of the most important elements of the internet. What's one of the? Who can tell me what the most important element of the internet is? A link. Yes, we're going to create a link. Perfect. So we're going to create our very first link, and so again, you don't have to follow any of this exactly. Just in order to create a link, we create an A tag. And again, just like everything, has an opening tag, it's got a closing tag. I will come to the exceptions on this in a bit. Now, if I do it like this, it's not going to work. Try it out. Do it like this and see what your browser does.
You do it like what?
Just like what I did. Just do A and close A and write something in between. And save it. And I'm going to reload the browser. Does everybody have the A and closing A?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So, no luck. Doesn't look like a link. Well, the reason is we didn't tell it where to go. So, here's how you tell it where to go. So we're going to learn the next thing about tags. Tags can have attributes. And in the case of the A tag, A stands for anchor, we need to give it a URL. We need to tell it where to go when the user clicks on that link. And for some reason, instead of URL, this is called href. Don't ask me why, I didn't create the standard. So we put http://cnn.cnn.com in there. And you have to have all the parts right. Href is the name of the attribute. Equal means this is what I want the value of this attribute to be. You need to enclose it in either double quotes or single quotes. It would need to be the same quote on both ends. And you need to spell out the full URL, because we want to go to some place on the internet. We'll get to something a little later. So put the full URL, which starts with the protocol. And if you remember, when I said earlier, in order to get to a server, it's called the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Well, this tells it that that's the protocol it's supposed to use, and this is the domain name. So if you've got that, or some other site that you want to go to, now you can save it again. And if you hit refresh now, ta-da! It's a link.
Yay.
Now, click on your link. Click on your link and make sure your link works. Ah, breaking news. Sadly, Michael Jackson.